My name's Sue Shaw. I'm the Managing Director of Retreat, which is a community interest company that we set up in April 2021. Retreat is something that me and my husband came up with when in 2020 we had a terrible year of grief. We both lost our dads and a close family friend, and then we lost our beautiful daughter Rachel through suicide. And after that, it's a really difficult thing when you're trying to manage your own grief and you're in amongst a family, and particularly something with suicide. There's an awful lot of questions. It's a shock to everybody, and so we were trying to be there for everybody else. And me and Peter said that was how we would cope, was by being there for everybody else. And it didn't. It works and it doesn't work, and being at home sometimes feels like a prison, but then it's your comfort where you can close the door and you can grieve on your own. So we'd actually had already booked a holiday, and we weren't going to go because we felt like we needed to be there for our other daughter Kate particularly, and we didn't want to feel like we were leaving the family with their grief, and everybody said, you need to go, just go, we'll be fine, we'll all look after each other. And when we got there to the cottage and we went in, because it was somewhere neutral, somewhere different, and there was just us two, we allowed ourselves to grieve. We went walking, we were cycling, reading. I was doing jigsaw puzzles, things you just don't make time for and you don't think about doing. But because you're away from home, we were allowing ourselves to do that side of things. And the thoughts of even going into a shop to buy something to make a meal was too much. You feel like the world's watching you grieving, and obviously they're not, but the thoughts that you go into a shop and see someone who looks like Rach and everything, so you kind of just want to be in your own little bubble. So being away, it really gave us the opportunity to just have time for us and to kind of reset our clock a little bit as to we need to be looking after ourselves. We can't, that side of grief, we've got to look after ourselves mentally, physically, and that'll help us to help others as well. So that's where the retreat idea came in, is we thought if only we could find somewhere where, based on a campsite type of thing, because we've always loved camping, is to have somewhere rural where people can come, and it's for people suffering loss through suicide, because that means you're with people who really get it, they understand, and they'll be away from home, and we'll have walks organised, or just, this is where you can go for a walk if you just want to disappear. There'll be quiet areas to sit in fields where they'll just take time to just soak in nature, just get grounded a little bit. But also we want to have what we've called a hive. So it's going to be a central point where we'll have the cafe with healthy eating. We can either do cookery lessons or just have the meals there for them to either collect and eat back in their own log cabin or whatever it is, or to come and have meals together. And I think even for younger people who've lost a sibling, that's a massive shock for young people as well. And if they've got other people there who's gone through the same thing, you don't know what conversations might strike up. And I think because me and Peter, and obviously our Kate, we've lived that journey, and we are living that journey and will for the rest of our lives. I think we experience that we can show to someone that this has helped us, maybe it can help you. But that really, because of funding, and it's a big project, we've got to get from where we are now to there. For the funding, to try and raise funding, I personally at the time was going through a grief counsellor, and she said, we need to find something for you to focus on you, because it was easier for me to focus on everybody else. When you start thinking about yourself on your journey of grief, it's desperate, it really is. And you try not to, and you're trying to find other things to do. So it was kind of something for me to relax, and for me to find a way of channeling some of the grief. And she said, what do you like doing? And I said, well, I love to paint, but what comes out at the end is not great, but I love the sitting painting. And she said, right, well, that's your homework for this week, is I want you to just paint. Doesn't matter what the outcome is, just paint. Paint what you feel, what colours you feel. And I went home, and my sister is an artist, and she had given me loads of paints and paintbrushes and things, leftover things. And I thought, I'm actually going to give this a go. And I did. I put the canvas, and you've suddenly got this blank canvas in front of you and all these different colours next to you. And I picked up a couple of colours, and I thought, I don't really know how to paint. I've never learned how to paint. So some of the colours I really liked at that moment, because Rachel's favourite colour was purple, so purple was my first. Red was because of the anger of the loss of not having her here now. So the colours, I was just dotting them round. And I picked up a brush, I thought, here goes. And when I started putting the colours and I saw how they blended with each other, I just zoned totally into this picture and what it was turning into, because it had been a blank canvas, and all of a sudden it was becoming a something, a shape, and it started. And as I just put more colours that I felt on, and at the end when I finished, it was only about 20 minutes or so, and I sat back and I thought, I can see that's like, and I actually called it an eternal black hole, and it looked like nighttime sky colours sort of blended across. And I'd put other little splashes of colours, but in the middle I'd put one big black circle, made it a bit watery and sort of blew around on it a bit, and it just looked like a black hole. And I thought, there is this black hole in my life. And so the painting, even though I hadn't planned to paint that, I hadn't thought I'm going to paint the sky and I'm going to put this on and I'm going to put that on. The end product was actually that. And I actually had to go to bed for a couple of hours, because I felt like I took something of this pain out of here, put it onto a canvas. So I felt like I can let people know how it feels inside by just the colours that's on there. And I was quite drained afterwards, but in a nice way, not in a tearful, bad way. And I'd enjoyed it so much. I was straight off to B&M and the works, and I bought loads of canvases and loads of paints, and I just started this. Painting became this thing, and after each one I felt better. And sometimes the colours are really dark, sometimes the colours are really light, and it made me feel better. And so as part of the retreat, we want to have wellbeing activities in there, which we thought about walking, things like that. And we had thought about art and crafts for the younger ones, but it's for everybody really. And so I've set up Emotion Art UK, which is, at the moment, for me, it's something where I can still be doing art, but I want other people to experience. I want to start now, even though the retreat's down the road, I want to start something now that's helping people, because that helps me as well. And I want people to experience what I have through art and through channeling something. It doesn't have to be grief through suicide. It doesn't have to be grief. You can be feeling great and pick bright colours and actually paint. So for me, it's a whole new journey that I'm on, but it will help to raise funds for the retreat. And I think it started from just being about me, but I need to raise funds, but I also want other people to experience what I've had. It's a wonderful feeling, and I want somebody else to have that as well. So we are going to start workshops. We've piloted a couple already, and when they arrive, The trouble is when you're advertising something about an art workshop or a wellbeing art session, is people think they've got to know how to paint. You absolutely don't. You just turn up, and I'll just introduce myself, just a little bit of the story of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then because sometimes it can be just 5 minutes and a little small painting's out, and that's enough for that moment in time. And so I'll show a very quick demonstration, if you like. I'm going to give everybody a small bit with only a couple of colours, so they can just feel putting a bit of colour on and see, just sort of get the feel of that. And then they'll get a canvas and they can choose however many colours they want, whether it's 1 or 20. And they'll then have already had a little go and take as long as they want to put whatever colours they want, however they want it. And at the end of painting it, they might have a name for it or not. That really doesn't matter. Then we'll have a break. And then what we'd love to do is we're going to try we've got the great big sheets of canvas paper, and for everybody to pick just 2 colours that they like and put them wherever they want on this one canvas, everybody together. And I think that's the thing about sharing an experience. Somebody might be bringing sadness to the group, somebody's bringing happiness, and it's just a social thing of getting everyone together and seeing what we create and seeing what you can create. But we've also started doing merchandise from that as well. When I was doing the emotion art, and the paintings are all over the house, and I don't want to part with them because they're a bit of how I felt at the time. My lovely husband Peter said, right, there's only the bathroom left now to hang a painting. What are we going to do with all of these, And so I was kind of thinking of a way of how can we raise funds with these, and I don't want to part with them. So I went to a local company who print onto things like mugs, mouse mats, tote bags, that sort of thing. And I have the artwork is printed on there, and I'm selling those either through market stalls or online. And that money just goes straight into the retreat. And so I feel like what I've done is we're still working to this end goal. And we're also kind of raising awareness a little bit of people getting in touch with how they feel and finding a way of releasing a little bit of that to feel better. What I'm hoping for people to take away from the workshop at the end is that they've had a social get together with people, so it helps with maybe loneliness and maybe just getting back out there again. And because it's a relaxed atmosphere, your friendships might strike up, you never know. And we are also looking at a sideline of an art club as well, so that if they've really thoroughly enjoyed it and it's something where they want to go to regularly, they know now they've had the wellbeing art session, they know they can go and just put stuff on canvas. They don't have to go to an art club and produce fantastic art. They're there to enjoy themselves and have a bit of company. I've got it as a kind of a mobile setup where I can go to libraries, we can book sessions there. So the art club would need to be set somewhere where I wouldn't want that to move around, because I want to make that somewhere regular. And if it works and it's successful, we could take that to another place. But we want to offer it to different charities and different organisations. We've got been in touch with the carers organisation, because we feel like when they have their get together, they could start the session with a wellbeing art session, do some art and things, then they can continue their meeting after that, because it's not loads of equipment and it's not loads of things. So we will be advertising on social media, but I will be getting in touch with different organisations to say, this is what we can offer, we can bring it to you, even to the workplace, when some companies have team building things, and the last thing I would want to do is go and build a raft. So I'm thinking it might be easier if we come to you and say, you're having a team wellbeing thing, let's do art together, because somebody might just click with someone and then they can do that at home. If anybody does have any ideas or wants to get involved in any way, or is really interested in doing any of the art sessions, our email address and to email me direct would be emotion.art@outlook.com. But we do have the Reach Out Retreat website, which everyone can go to, that has more of the story on there, some lovely photos of our rage, so you can see who I'm talking about when I'm mentioning it. And it'll have links on there. It's also got a donate button if anybody wants to donate to the retreat.